but I know I'll be happy. And it was those words that were inspiring to the team. The team went on to win 12-6. And Reagan knew that the importance of words, the inspiring importance of words, were so important to lead the people. And it was the words that meant so much to us at so many times over those years of his presidency that gave us comfort in times of great calamity. You know, Reagan will be remembered not for just at his 100th birthday, but certainly at his 200th birthday as well. We remember his forcefulness in dealing with communist regimes in Germany and in Russia. We remember his economic policies to fend off recession, to build a strong defense. His policies, his tax policies, to keep money in our pockets to fend off, again, the recession. And we remember that he also made a very important nomination. He nominated Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman to the Supreme Court of the United States, and that's such an important step to him. He made amazing, amazing contributions to this country. And you know, he still had a sense of humor despite all the things after he was shot, just 69 days into his presidency. As they were rolling him into to be operated on, what did he say to this team of surgeons? Please tell me you're all Republicans. I mean, he just had a way just to calm people down and to make things work. But the words that really, really held so dear to me, again, his power of words was just phenomenal. It was a gift this man had. Not only the words that he chose, but the way in which he was able to express those words, that voice, that calming voice. We all remember that in 1986, that terrible day, when the Space Shuttle Challenger basically shattered before our eyes. And it was remarkable, it was horrifying. We were just all this crew died, Framingham teacher Krista McCullough among them. And he addressed the nation that night in his words that just meant so much, that really will stay with me forever, where we will never forget them. Not the last time we saw them this morning as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. Thank you very much.
And his wife, Angelica, who was a candidate for state rep. And I'm sorry I didn't have you on my list originally. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Nobody likes to do those kinds of things. It's always embarrassing. In any case, we're hoping that things are working well. I know I feel lucky. This is actually my lucky presidential suit. When my oldest in her career moves got to be an intern at the White House, discovered that, well, when you're an employee, temporary that you are, you can get a tour of the West Wing for you and your family. So I had the privilege, along with my wife, Peggy, and my youngest girl, Pam, and her husband, and my oldest girl, Melissa, and her husband, to do a West Wing tour. And I wore appropriate clothing for the day. After all, I was in the White House. Happened to be this suit. And I have the picture to prove that I stood in the podium in the press room. And the woman that was giving the tour, who was a colleague working with my daughter, spoke to me as she noticed us posing for the pictures we were about to take. Said, "You are not running for office, right?" I said, "No, why?" She said, "Because you can't take a picture and use it with that seal behind it." I said, "No, it's just personal in nature only." But it was in, say again?
You could use that one.
Yeah, I could use that one. But they were concerned that I might be implying that I had the presidential approval. But I did take the advantage. And I have to laugh because the current occupant, about 2 weeks into his presidency, finally got an opportunity to wander the hallways down to the press room. And as he walked in, 9 tables across, 14 deep, said, "My, this is a lot smaller room than I thought it was." And I had to laugh because that's exactly the remark I made. Because most of us see it and see just the podium view or a down view of a reporter. You don't get the concept that it's really a very small room, not much bigger than the actual space that we're occupying here in this room. So it was fun not only to be there, but to actually get an opportunity to step up to the podium, even if it was just for a picture. Anyhow, I thought I'd share that. Lastly, we have another interesting speaker, Holly Robichad. Holly is known as the lone Republican. I don't know if it's just simply because she's working at the Boston Herald or because maybe she has been an outstanding voice, not only as in her 16-year career on the State Committee, but as a political consultant. I don't think you limit yourself to only to Republicans, but clearly I think you've been in a couple of other state events, but that's neither here nor there. Am I misunderstanding that? No, okay. But clearly she is well-known, regarded political consultant and a lady that's very good with the words. So, Holly, please be my guest.
Unlike the other previous speakers, I didn't write a presidential type speech. I like to speak about the Republican Party, and I only work for Republicans, Democrats. If they were smart, they'd be Republican. So, one of my favorite though quotes is Ronald Reagan said, "Is America's is too great for small dreams." And that's the way I kind of feel about Massachusetts, because I do a lot of training around the entire country. I've trained Republicans all the way from here to Alaska on how to run for office, and they always ask me, why do you live in Massachusetts? You're a Republican. And I say, well, one, it's easy writing the lone Republican column because I never run out of stupid things to write about Democrats on. And two, because I love Massachusetts, and I think that we can't give up on our state. And so that's why, like many of you, I continue to beat my head against the wall fighting for Republican principles here in our great state. It's a love, even though it's sometimes it's not so fun, but we've had some success. 2 years ago, I teamed up with my good friend Michael Graham. He is from South Carolina and just couldn't believe that Massachusetts is always going to stay so Democrat. So we teamed up to run campaign schools across the state 2 years ago, before Scott Brown even got involved. At our first school, we had over 100 people at Ken Steakhouse, and we were really excited about that. And over the 2 years, we trained 1,000 people here in Massachusetts to help out on campaigns and run for office. And the majority of the people that won in the Massachusetts House actually went through our campaign schools. So we're pretty excited. And Michael and I talked, well, actually, if you know him, he was pretty suicidal the day after the election. And if you heard him on the radio, he was much worse when he called me first thing in the morning. And the reason he called me is because I was the only good call he got on the election night I won Sean O'Connell's campaign. And my night went with Shauna's husband calling me, and I didn't recognize the cell phone number. And I got a call, and he says, "We won." And I'm like, "Who the hell is this?" And it's like Ted O'Connell. I'm like, "Oh, okay, good." And then I saw that not so many other people were in. So I called Michael. Michael's like suicidal on the air. And he goes, "Tell me something good." And I said, "Shauna won." And he goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yes, Shauna won." And then the next call was, though I made was to a lawyer, because Shauna had only won by 44 votes. And but 2 weeks ago, we ran, last Saturday, we ran another campaign school at Ken Steakhouse. And Michael and I thought, well, if we have 60 people show up on a Saturday morning in February, we're going to be doing okay. And we had over 150 people show up last Saturday, more people than we had 2 years ago. So we're really excited that we've kind of kicked it off. And Robert here knows the story of how I was at CPAC last Thursday and Friday, and I got called into a meeting with a presidential candidate, and you can't say no. And so I had to change and fly back on Saturday morning. And my first order of business was getting up in the morning. The hotel forgot to call and wake me up at 3 o'clock. Luckily, I woke myself up at 3:30 a.m. I jumped into the shower to no hot water, really, really cold. Run down, jump in, go over to find out that they had pushed back my flights to that I'd be landing during the middle of the talk.